Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Molly Mish Dailies. Last night we spent at this spot right here. This is actually a piece of private property. Somebody who follows us on Instagram is from Croatia. Family's from here, from this piece of land exactly, and he lives in the U.S. now, but comes back to visit. But his family has moved to Split as their primary residence, but has this country house. And it's, I don't know how many there are, but there looks to be about 5 or 6 different sort of cabin structures here. There's one up there with a rain catchment cistern, and all across their land are plums. It's like a plum orchard. Check it out. Yeah, they're just, I'm guessing, over 100, maybe a couple hundred trees, plum trees. So it's a pretty cool little piece of land. Here on the mountain range side of Croatia is much more lush. They get a lot more rain, it feels like. Everything is just super overgrown if you don't take care of it for, a few months of the wet season or the spring and summer season. So I don't know how frequently their family, who still lives in Croatia, comes here, but as you can tell, it's really green here all over. And we're really close to the border of Croatia and Bosnia. If you look at the map, you can tell that Croatia and Bosnia share a massive border on the eastern side. So we've been sort of meandering around for the last 3 weeks or so that we've been out in the van. We've been meandering around the border region near the town of Bihać, which is one of the bigger towns in Bosnia near the Croatian border. So we see like border entries towards Bihać a bunch. This is also near the national park, Plitvice National Park. So we spend like 11 days at this campground that we found, owned by this woman. Her name is Ljubica, which is the name of the flower violet in Croatian. So her camp became known as Camp Vivi, because I guess one of her first guests, she just started doing this last year, one of her first guests was a French family, and trying to figure out how to put her campground on Park for Night, this app that we use. And they found out it means violet, the flower, so they named her campground Camp Vivi. But she's having some problems with the national park and the government. Basically, she wasn't always. She was not inside the boundaries of the national park when she started, which made her place perfectly legal for a 24-hour stay. But every year, the park seems to expand its boundaries a little bit. So I guess this last year, they expanded their boundaries to include her village inside the national park's boundary, which meant that her campground is no longer allowed to have people staying overnight or have people sleep there. Whereas before, I think a 24-hour stay was legal. So it was kind of upsetting because we saw her going through this while we were there. We were there for 5 days at first, and we really liked it. So she's like, well, you're only supposed to stay here for 24 hours, but most people come here, stay the night, they leave to go to the park, and then they come back, so their 24-hour starts over. But we were staying there, so she said, well, really like having us staying there because she can speak Croatian to Marlene, and she kind of became friends. So then she said, you guys are just my friends now, so you can stay as long as you want because you're my friends. But she did have an inspector come and talk to her, who brought a park ranger as like her escort security when we were there once. And when we came back the second time, we stayed for 3 nights, and just before that, the inspector came again, this time with armed police as her security, because she's this older lady in her 60s who lives there by herself. Real big threat, I guess, to them. I don't know. Or maybe it's just just to intimidate her a little bit. But yeah, she's getting some kind of letter in the mail. Later she found out to say that she has to close. So it's really sad because people love this place. Everyone that we saw come stay there, and if you look in the reviews on Park for Night, people just love this place. There's a massive campground that was built down the road. Cost something like 4 million euros. And there's no character, there's no trees. It's just little buildings that you can rent for like cabins, and then just carved out rectangular spaces that you can camp, and a big building for a shower, clubhouse, whatever. Zero character. Like 3 miles down the road from her, they were granted a license to be a campground, which is what Lupica Vivi was trying to do, trying to get a license granted. They won't grant it to her because they have since carved her land, private property by the way, as part of the national park. So there's really nothing she can do. So it's pretty upsetting. We were there the last 3 nights. We were there. We just left yesterday morning. We stayed there for 5 nights and then 3 nights. We left for 3, and then we came back for 3 more nights, which was yesterday morning when we left. She had to turn away a bunch of people that came. So, basically she knew that the letter was in the mail, and once the letter comes and she receives the letter, she has to close for 30 days. And being that it's the end of August, her season's over. So we could very well have been the last people to stay at her campground. She's licensed as an OPG, which is a family farm, and lots of family farms allow camping. Lots of family farms allow overnight stays. Lots of even restaurants allow overnight stays, but none of them are inside the territory of the national park, I guess. I don't know what's going to happen. This campground, this big 4 million euro campground that was just built last year, it's just outside of the boundaries of the national park, and presumably if they expand the territory again, they could expand into that. But for some reason, I feel like they're not going to do that. Just the way the stories I've heard about how the government works is basically like, it's a pay-to-play kind of scenario. These people pay a lot of money to the government, and they're big, and they bring in tourism. They have to charge a lot of money because they paid a lot of money to have it built. So they bring the right kind of tourists, is kind of what people think. The Croatian government doesn't seem to want younger people who doesn't want to spend 50, 60 euros to stay a night at a campground. And that's why it costs a lot of money to build these campgrounds. And because of that, they have to charge a lot of money. Which is also why wild camping is not legal in Croatia, at least during the high season when all the campgrounds are open. So a small mom and pop picnic area, family farm, who wants to allow people to stay on their land for either free, if you buy some, kind of like a US, similar to harvest host type scenario. France has this too. France has pretty much an identical thing called France Passion. Basically just harvest hosts. These kinds of harvest host scenarios are not allowed, period, at all. You know, when the inspector came and told her what people are allowed to do, but because she does have a picnic / family farm status, they said, okay, 24 hours is fine. People can stay here for upwards of 24 hours, but you cannot sleep inside the vehicle. If you have a picnic outside and you fall asleep on a blanket outside, then that's okay. But if you are inside your vehicle and you're sleeping, then that's illegal, which is completely ludicrous. So she's trying to find ways to keep her business going because people really love it. You know, every review since she opened last year is a 5-star review, with the exception of this one German guy who came here in June this year, right even before July 1st, when the coronavirus lockdown has officially opened Europe. He came at the end of June and it wasn't open yet. She wasn't open yet. She had a little health issues too, so I think she was kind of, you know, taking care of her health issue. Because it wasn't open, he gave it a 1-star review. Never even met her, never stay there. But because of that, she has one 1-star review and all 5-star reviews. But none of that really matters anymore, I guess, because she's forced to close down. So it's pretty sad. We stay there a total of 11 days, and we're hoping that this could be our spot to go to each year when we come back to Croatia. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Hopefully she'll find a way around it. But otherwise, you know, we could have been the last people to ever stay there. So today we're gonna head back out. We're gonna leave this property. This is our Instagram friend's family place. Nobody's here. They said, hey, if you guys are near, go check it out. There's supposed to be some kind of cool waterfall river thing along the Bosnian Croatian border. We may go check that out. We have no cell service here at all because their property is surrounded in 3 directions by mountains. We're in like a valley, and the only direction that's not surrounded by mountains that would have cell signal points towards Bosnia. So we would be charged huge amounts for roaming if we connect to a Bosnian cell tower, which we don't want to do because Bosnia is not part of the EU, and our phones can roam freely in the EU, but not in Bosnia. But we will, we're gonna get out of here today. Anyways, we're gonna probably start making our way back towards Split and be there. Today's Thursday, hopefully by Saturday. Hope you guys are doing well. Croatia, Corona is kind of having a little outbreak right now, and all the tourists are leaving. So we're hoping by the time we get to Split, it'll be quiet. There'll be a lot more restrictions. A lot of mask wearing, hopefully, social distancing. But we'll see how things go. Fall's coming, so people are going to spend a lot more time indoors. And I hope that everybody can stay safe. You guys as well. Thanks for watching as always. Thanks for your support. I'll see you guys later.